Munchkins and viewers alike, it's me Munchie and welcome to an updated video. So I have been keeping you guys away for a while when it comes to all these new things, just because I'm playing catch up right now on my channel for uploaded and edited videos. Every time I do an update, it's always way far behind every other video, and there's just so much going on in between. So by the time this gets up, there's probably going to be like 17 other things I need to say and or need to do in a video soon. So just letting you know, everything that you're probably going to see today is probably going to be upgraded very shortly. So the first set of news here is actually my foster hamster, Miss Frizzle. I did say in one of the previous videos that she has been adopted. So she was adopted by a wonderful lady who actually did not have hamsters prior to Miss Frizzle. Miss Frizzle was actually going to be her first, and she actually was a hedgehog owner. And so what happened was she really loved Miss Frizzle. She saw her ad, kept getting reposted and talked about and bumped up and things like that. And so she stepped in and said, hey, I would like her. Let me just do a little research first. Let me get a cage set up and everything and I'll show you. Turns out she did have a Critter Nation, which is a bar cage, which unfortunately is not what I was going for. But I thought since she did have all the right stuff, a really huge Carolina storm wheel, I believe it was, and just a good setup in general for a Syrian hamster, I approved her and said, hey, Miss Frizzle is yours. So I'm very happy for Miss Frizzle. She finally did get adopted and I missed her a lot. And the worst part was too, I had trouble trying to open up the carrier, and when I did open up the carrier, tried to transfer it to the other carrier, she did bit me pretty hard. And I did let the lady know that she has only previously bit me once and now she's bit me twice, but that's because she does not like change. She does not like anything new. So if you put her in a new environment, leave her alone. So unfortunately, Miss Frizzle gave me a goodbye nip right there in the thumb, and now I have something to remember her by because it's slowly healing, but I still see the scar of where she bit me. But anyway, she's having fun up there. So right after Miss Frizzle got adopted, I did take in the next foster hamster, Zelda. Now Molly's still here and Molly's doing fine, and just to let you guys know, Molly did get her claws trimmed. We were able to trim her claws with a nail clipper, and thankfully I had my boyfriend help me out with that, just because it was more of a two-person job than a one-person job. And she was actually much calmer, and it was a surprise to me because she was one of the calmest hamsters I had that evening, and I was like, you were so sweet, how come you're letting me do this? Oh my gosh, you're just so precious. She's a gentle soul, and I like Molly, and I just hope she does get adopted soon. But anyways, back to Zelda. So Zelda came with us with a bleeding vagina. Now I did a little bit of research, and in the video where I was introducing her to you guys, I totally kind of messed up a little bit. So the disease that I mentioned in the video that starts with the P, which I'm terrible at pronouncing it, so I'm just gonna leave it here. This disease is also found in cats and dogs, and usually when there's indication of blood from the vagina for hamsters, that is usually the uterus disease. And the uterus disease is an infection, and if not treated, it can kill the animal. Just like cats and dogs, it will kill the hamster eventually if it gets too big and too infected, and so she does need to have a spay surgery. So I went in to the hospital, and it was not my regular vet hospital, it was a different hospital, and they looked at her and they said that they have never seen this before in hamsters, and they questioned me saying, have you seen this before? I said no, but I went onto the hamster forums, I went in places like this, and people were suggesting it was a uterus disease. And then she says, yes, it could be, and it could also be another thing too, where it could have been like a tumor, but she says even if we do perform a spay operation, if it was a tumor, that would be something else. She got me on antibiotics for Zelda and said that, okay, take these, hopefully it helps a little bit, and then we'll prep her for the spay surgery. And the one thing that kind of is a hit and a miss for this vet is that they've never performed a spay surgery on hamsters before. They've done it for rats, they've done it for ferrets, they've done it for all these other exotic animals, but they've never done it for a hamster because they say nobody values the lives of hamsters. So we never get to see them in this type of condition because nobody wants to bring them in. So I would be her first, or Zelda technically would be her first spay operation for a hamster. Now this is, it's potentially very dangerous. very dangerous, so she could mess this all up. But at the same time, for a vet tech, it's good to have experience with something like this so they can help save other hamsters in the future. So with Zelda, she is literally a test subject, and I feel really bad that I have to do this for her. But if the bleeding continues and it doesn't stop, and it has not stopped with her antibiotics I've been giving her, she needs to have this done. And it's very hard to detect tumors. So if we spay her and then the bleeding still continues, I think the tumors would be very serious. And I don't know what she said, if that was a possibility, if there was something to prevent tumors, or if tumors were just kind of a, oh, well, we can't do anything for her. I would have to talk to her again about that. But from my understanding is we're hoping this is just that horrible uterus disease, and hopefully the spay will help. So she's going to get spayed probably in the next week, and crossing my fingers all goes well. Otherwise, I may lose her in this operation, and that would be so hard because she's such a sweetheart. Let me show you her tonight. Oh, she's like right there, and I already gave her antibiotics and everything. I'm supposed to give them twice a day, morning and night, so one moment please. So at first when I had her, she was doing very well. I didn't see any blood. This is Zelda, by the way. Sorry, my camera's so zoomed in. But this is Zelda. She's such a sweetheart. Oh, aren't you such a sweet little thing? Please don't jump. I love you. Don't jump. Please don't jump. Anyways, so at first I didn't see any blood until last night. Last night I saw blood on her bum, and I'm like, nope, I have to let the vets know in the morning that the bleeding is still continuing and that we probably will need her to get spayed. But at least she's a big hamster. She's a really big girl. She is 150 grams, and that is quite a big size. There have been hamsters even bigger than her, but usually for pet store hamsters, you don't see anybody quite as big as her here. Yeah, look at you. Just don't jump. I mean, she's like bigger than my hand, for goodness sakes. Yeah, please don't jump. I know you. You get kind of freaked out after a while, but you're such a sweet girl. When I give her medicine, I just like kindly flip her in the back, and then look at her. She's so calm. She doesn't care. But I do smell the urine heat. Oh my god, I haven't actually smelled her in heat before, but I can smell the musk now. Yeah, she's supposed to be over a year old, and usually for female hamsters, they are supposed to get out of heat, or like out of their, you know, breeding cycle at about 1 year of age. So she might just be slowly getting older and maybe losing her prime. But yeah, I can definitely smell that musk there. She didn't pee. It's definitely a musky smell. But let me put you back, sweetie. So that's Zelda tonight. I didn't want to keep her out any longer just because she wants to just be by herself. But yeah, I am not looking forward to spaying, and I'm also looking forward to spaying because even if she's only going to live for another year or a year and a half, I do want her to have a really good life. I don't want it to end shortly, because if I was given the chance to have a life-saving operation, I would want to take it because I want to improve my life. So that's what's up with her. And so the next thing I want to talk about after Zelda is the cage where Miss Frizzle was. Now, as you guys know, I did put Miss Frizzle in there because she was a climber and she really loved climbing on the bars, but she was biting the bars. And I found out from her new owner that she doesn't bite the Critter Nation bars at all. And there was only like 1 or 2 times when she did see the biting, but it was very minimum. So what I believe, because I have so many hamsters in this room, now I'm down to 6, but I did have 7 at the time, because right around when I was adopting a Miss Frizzle, I did get Zelda. I think I'm getting it all mixed up. No. Yes. Trying to remember. It's confusing. But recently everything just happened all around the same time, but I did have 7 hamsters at one point. And so because there's so many hamsters in here, Sahara, my personal hamster, and Miss Frizzle were constantly communicating to each other back and forth. You can hear the squeaks, and you hear one squeak, and then you hear the other squeak, and then you hear the other squeak, and then the other squeak. So you knew they were communicating. And I did notice they were restless when they were in heat, because you could smell it, and they were running around a bunch. They're very high energy, the females are, when they are in heat. And then the other thing is, I believe they could smell each other. And at first I thought it was just my male that they were attracted to, but my male is quite old. I mean, you can still probably smell them. They were smelling each other, the females, and I think that they were getting very heated. and that's why there was bar chewing. Now, I did move Sahara into the wire bar cage, which was the preview 528 cage that Miss Frizzle was in, and she is bar biting as well, and I feel bad. But I put her in there because she was a climber. She was climbing the 50-gallon bin cage here and chewing at the top, and she actually made a big enough hole that her head almost fit completely through it, so I had to quickly change cages with her. And so currently right now, Zelda is in the 50-gallon bin cage, and then she is in the wire cage for her own safety. But I was thinking about putting her in a 40-gallon breeder, which would be around the same size, if not a little bit smaller or bigger than what she's in now. But the reason why I have her in here is because, again, she likes to climb. She does have a lot of climbing toys in there, and she is running on the Silent Runner 9-inch wheel, and she's enjoying it for the most part. And she does like her little ledge. She likes to jump up. And what I noticed too is when she gets to the very top of the cage, which I haven't caught on video yet, she likes to just, you know, monkey bar the top, and she just monkey bars all the way across the cage, and she just does it with her 2 paws, and it makes me so impressed because I've never seen quite a hamster do that before. I've seen reptiles do something similar, especially bearded dragons, which is crazy to think that they could climb and hang from the top of their enclosure, but they can, and a lot of times she doesn't fall either, and I'm quite surprised. So she has a lot of energy, lots of strength, and she's a very happy and healthy hammy. Problem is the bar biting. It drives me absolutely crazy. She bar bites worse than Miss Frizzle. But I do believe the bar biting is not because she's bored, but because she smells other hamsters. And right above her is Zelda, another Syrian hamster. So she does smell Zelda, unfortunately, and she probably does smell other hamsters in the room. So that is my theory. I like to see more about hamster behavior just because the bar biting could indicate so many things, but from just personally seeing her interacting with the other hamsters in the room, I do believe the bar biting is probably her just wanting to break out to get to the other hamsters. And it's not uncommon either. There's a lot of people that like to relist hamsters, and they claim that their hamster got out and broke into their other hamster's enclosure and all these things. I've seen it so often on Craigslist, so I do believe that is it. They just smell each other, so that's what I think it is. And I think that's all I want to say to you guys for an update. I still have my rack system, I still have the bins in here. The only thing that I have in here that's not hamster related is my betas, which are doing fine. They're doing perfectly well. And then also my fat tail gecko, which is Gojira. And I do think I'm going to keep the name for Gojira just because I do like saying, oh, look at Gojira. Oh, look at little Gojira. So I've been accustomed to Gojira's name, and I absolutely love to see him hunt. Ever since upgrading him to a 20-gallon long cage, he's been hunting so much whenever I put crickets in, which is great because he's moving around. He's enjoying his 4 hides he has in there. One's technically a tunnel. Well, a couple of them are. He doesn't seem like he likes the moss too much in the corkscrew. And I'm very happy too because I think I got all of his stuck shed off. I did notice afterwards when I filmed that introduction video of him that he did have a few dead skins just left on his ends, and I got them off very quickly. And I did look back in the video and notice another thing, which was the photos of him from the person that was giving him away. And I did notice he had stuck shed on his toes, which he still had with me, which I was unsure of at first until I took a closer look and noticed, oh yeah, that's dead skin that's stuck on his ends. I need to get that off. So unfortunately I did have to soak him, but the dead skin came off pretty easy, and then there is a few pieces of dead skin stuck on his claws, and that's about it. And there is just a couple of toes that have, you know, no tips on them, but the majority of his claws and toes are still there, so that's good. I just need to be careful of stuck shed, which I'm glad that I did move him to a bigger enclosure because he has 2 humid hides and 2 dry hides. So that is all I want to share with you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the little update, and just wish Zelda luck, because that's what I'm basically worried about now, is how is Zelda going to do? Is his first time spay surgery going to be okay? I don't know. Is she even gonna come out alive? The uterus for hamsters are quite small. I don't know. It might not work. It might work, or it might be something else. It's just the what ifs. It's just so crazy. But anyways, I am probably, as just a last minute note, probably going to keep her as my personal hamster if she does come out of the surgery okay, just because she would be a very costly surgery. And so I'm going to keep her, but in the future, if I ever do have other hamsters that I'm fostering that have this type of disease and I get them spayed, I still will probably rehome, but as the first time person experiencing this, I think that I'm just going to keep her as my personal hamster and continue to foster hamsters. So that means I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 personal hamsters, and all I ever wanted was 3 personal hamsters. And I am stuck with 5, but it's totally okay. I love hammies. I have the time and room for them. Oh, and another thing, before I go, somebody did mention that they did want to donate items and things like that for my foster home and or for my own personal hamsters. So thank you guys for considering that. I was going to make a separate video, but I thought I would just include that I have a link down below to an Amazon wish list. So if anybody wants to help out my hammies, I'm not trying to beg, but I do have a foster home and rescue. All the proceeds in my foster home come out of my pocket. Sometimes the rescues might be free. Sometimes the rescues actually cost money, so I'll have to take money out of my pocket. And then when I go to rehome the animal, I only have $5 for a dwarf and then $8 for a Syrian with a little baggie of their food, and that's it. And so I'm not really making a lot of money back from this. This is more of a hobby of me trying to help out our community, trying to help educate people, and also trying to give these small animals a place to go, because the only other place there is, because the Seattle Humane Society no longer has a critter room, the Seattle Animal Shelter is one of the only areas around here that actually has a dedicated critter room and dedicated supplies, whereas other shelters, they will not take them because they don't have supplies, and or they put them in foster care because they don't have a room or supplies at their location. And a lot of the times pet stores, they just don't have room, they have new inventory, and even though Petco does have a surrender policy and they can adopt out the surrendered animals, sometimes you are denied because they don't have room, and that's unfortunate. Where I actually did talk to a friend of mine who works at a Petco, and she says that she is no longer taking in any sort of hamsters because they're always filled with brand new hamsters that they keep sending them. So she has to deny people, and I feel really bad because I told everybody about the Petco program, but there are stores that just can't take in these animals because they're always being filled back up. But there are some Petcos that are empty and they can actually provide an animal a safe place to be. So anyways, there's that. But I'm just gonna say, right now in my foster home, I'm paying everything for the animals that I care for. But if you like to help out, the number one thing that I really need all the time is bedding. So I have bedding listed in 2 different sizes if anybody wants to help out. The bigger the better. I always use the value pack. So thank you guys again for watching and just staying up to date with me. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, hit like to show your support. Comment down below if you want to say anything, and subscribe if you are new here and want to become a part of the Munchkin family. And thank you guys so much for keeping up with me and the hammies and the animals, because I have more than just the hamsters. Bye bye.